G'day guys, thanks for dropping back in, and if you haven't seen the video before this entitled The Cull, you can check it out here. I'm going to link it on the screen for you to check out, where I went through all of the raw images that I captured during this particular job. But in this video we're going to jump into the edit. I guess more accurately we could call it the raw processing. I'm going to be doing it in Lightroom. Now to get started on this, I'll let you know that the deal I offer here for say 21st birthdays or parties is a 2-hour shoot with a 2-hour edit. So there's not a lot of retouching or anything like that going on. It's basically, as I mentioned, raw processing. But what I'm going to do is take you through a few of the photos that I took in the job last night, and you may have seen it in the Cull video, and we're going to go through and give you a bit of a sense about how quickly that we can process these photos, or in how much detail. Now, I do mention to my clients that if they want any more processing, if they want any more editing or retouching, then I can quote for that. But when you're talking about 21sts or parties that are quite casual affairs, your clients don't necessarily need or want that high level of editing or retouching. So a nice, quick, sharp, raw processed and editing, get the photos out and they're happy and you can move on to the next job. So without saying too much further, let's jump into it. I've got a series of photos here that we're gonna work on to start with. And I do crop. I'm gonna say it right at the outset because I know that some people do not crop. And I actually have to crop because so often you're shooting very quickly that you need to be able to compose after the shot. I mean, obviously you want to compose as best as you can while you're shooting, but sometimes indeed you do have to compose after the shot. Now, the other thing is I don't use presets. I deal with every photo on its merits, and we're just looking for little edits that may need to be done just to make the photo a little bit more focused in terms of the subjects, and also to bring the colors up and that sort of thing. But we just move very quickly here, and all I'm doing is just doing some very quick edits. I usually should just keep that crop window open. And one thing I found last night was that a lot of my shots were quite warm, so I have to adjust the white balance back for them. And it was all to do with the lighting. My white balance was set to daylight, I think it was. But in reality, I probably should have had it set to cloudy, or even taken the time to dial in the kelvins. But as I say, these are just quick, casual jobs. You want to deliver good photos. I mean, you don't want to undermine your abilities by delivering crappy photos. But at the same time, you want to be able to get the job done and then move on to the next. And as it happens this weekend, I've been really busy with shooting. I had a real estate job prior to the weekend, which I've been processing photos from, and then this 21st last night. You notice here I did click the auto button, and so I'm not averse to doing that, letting Lightroom determine what it thinks is going to be the ideal exposure to give you a starting point. And I guess you could argue that when I said I didn't use presets, that by clicking the auto button, the auto tone button, that is in some ways a preset of itself. I don't know. But we're moving through here, and we're just want to add a bit more contrast, dial back the white balance, and then we move on to the next photo. Actually, I want to go back to that one because I wasn't happy with the crop. So we're just going to pull, I don't like the jacket down here on the chair. And the other thing you have to consider too is that a lot of these photos are destined for social media. They're destined for cell phones. So you don't necessarily need to retain all the pixels to be able to deliver really high quality images. Because on social media, or particularly for Facebook for instance, you're looking at 2048 pixels on the long side for the best shots. And with the camera that I was shooting with, which is Canon EOS R, it's a 30.5 megapixel image. So there is a lot of room to be able to crop and still get a 2048 pixel image on the long side. This one's a little bit out of focus, but it's still a nice shot, and I am going to include it. We've got a bit of an overhead shot here. I don't like these legs up on the top, so I'm actually going to change the aspect ratio to 8.5 by 11 just to be able to bring those legs out of the shot and hone the focus onto the activity, what this dude here is doing, which is signing the 21st birthday jersey. I am a little bit upset that I didn't dial in my white balance, and even by doing this video right now, while you're watching along, I'm learning as well. I'm no expert in editing photos, but I'm learning. And that's the beauty about YouTube, is that everything I've picked up basically is from YouTube and also from experience. And each time you do a job, you learn what works for you and you learn what doesn't work for you. And from this job here, I'm going to work out how much time I wasted adjusting the white balance when I could have dialed in the white balance at the job itself and saved all of that hassle. But each time you focus on something new, I'm focusing more on making sure my compositions are slightly better. Previously, I've been focused on making sure I get shots in focus. And so each time you just get a little bit better, you just keep progressing, you just keep learning. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of doing all this sort of stuff, is that the more you do it, the better you get, the faster you become, the easier it becomes as well. And once again, I really want to focus in on this dude here. We've already got this shot basically, but I'm going to include it anyway and then move on to the next one. And this is, I love this, I really like this shot here. This area up the top here, I'm not so fond of. So I am going to bring that crop window back and maybe go to 8x5x11. Might even try it this way. The focus of the shot is this girl here. Look, they may well love it. I'm not so sure about it now. This one here is better. We want to be able to keep the pen and the paper in frame so we know what's actually happening in this shot. It's very important to give some context to it. All this here with the hair across the face, you see that? This is the sort of thing that I'm talking about, the retouching. If you have more time and if the budget is greater and you have the ability and the time to do it, and that's the sort of thing that you might retouch out. And that becomes really important with things like portrait sessions, or definitely for wedding photography. You don't want the bride with a great big streak of hair across her face, so you do take a bit more time. But for these jobs here, the deal is a 2-hour shoot, a 2-hour edit, basically raw processing, and then we move on. That's a lovely shot. On to the next one. Here we've got some nice laughter. It does look a little warm. I don't like up the top corner here how something was protruding into the frame, so we'll just remove that, and then we're going to dial back the white balance a wee bit. And then it also seems to be quite pink, but then if I go like that, it turns green, so that is fine. We move on. Now in this case, I've got 3 photos in the same series. I'm going to synchronize those. And bang, those other 3 photos are basically now processed. Okay, ready to go. We'll just give them a little bit of a tweak in terms of the crop angle here. On to the next one. That's a great shot. Good on you, mate. I really appreciate it when people smile and look down the camera and give you a good shot, you know, and so are your clients. They're going to love it too. And I sometimes include these sort of quirky shots here, something a little bit different. You know, they can all have a laugh. They're having so much fun, and then they can look through these photos again and laugh again, I suppose. And we're actually whipping through these. Look, this one here annoys me because it's taken in front of the bathrooms in the venue. Sometimes you just have to shoot wherever the people want to be shot. But in front of the bathrooms is, you know, you want to stay away from that. Stay away from the restrooms, if at all possible. That's actually a better shot, this one here. I should just leave that crop window open so I can, it's always up, but it is also distracting to have that there in the frame as well. And as you can see here, I'm really whipping through it. And in this case, I've got about 350 photos from the Cull, and I really want to just get it done, you know. I want to try and keep to the 2 hours, try and keep to the deal on which I quoted for, and on which I invoiced for, and for which I'm being paid. But at the same time, I don't want to deliver rubbish. I want to deliver good photos that trigger good memories, that take the people back to that moment. Basically, these are just time machines, you know. We're just freezing time so they can look back. And the great thing is about these photos will last for who knows what. And anything could happen in the future. Anything could determine what these photos might be used for. So we just click through, we move on. Or actually I'll go back because I noticed something on the left of the frame there which I didn't like. And that is this gentleman standing off to the side here. So we'll change the aspect ratio. 8x5, 8.5 by 11 is a classic aspect ratio. I actually really like the 2x3 ratio. I really like the 2x3 ratio, or if not the 4x3. If you look at something like the 5x4, you know, I'm not so fussed about the 5x4. or what you may know as a 10 by 8. It's a little bit too square for my liking. There's quite a lot of haze in these shots here. And I don't like that angle on the side there. We're going to use a 4 by 3 for this one, just to straighten out the edges and focus on these guys here. We'll try and dehaze a little bit, see if that helps at all, and it does seem to, so that's good. And a lot of raw processing or editing is trial and error. You just want to see what looks good and works. I'm having a real mare here with the white balance. You can of course use the eyedropper and try and find some white in the scene. I see some over here, so we'll click on that and see what it does, and then that's much better, much better. Did you see that? Much better. Okay, on we go. And look, if you like to use presets or however you want to do that, that's absolutely fine as well. I find that presets, they work good for one photo, but the very next photo they could be absolutely terrible. And then if you start using a particular preset, then all of a sudden you're kind of locked into that, because if you suddenly start changing your presets during the same series of photographs, then it becomes a little bit disjointed, it becomes a little bit inconsistent. So I just prefer to edit, or process I should say, each photo on its merits, on its own merits. Now this one here, I don't like the way the girl over here has her finger on her lips, but I am going to use the shot because it's just so great of this guy right here. Try and bring these people in the background into it as well, to show that there are people in the background. We'll leave the drinks on the table. The elbow here is annoying, but there are people there. There are people there, they are going to encroach into the frame, so you are going to have to deal with that. Okay, that's a nice shot. The thing about this shot here is I think it'll look quite good vertical. What do we call that? Portrait, I should say. So it's going to try a 4 by 3 crop here, and remember this is a heavy crop I've just done there, but because I mentioned before that you're looking at long side 2048 pixels for online or social media, then it's absolutely fine to be done this way as well. The thing I would say about that is to check with your client beforehand to see where they're going to be using the photos or what they're going to be used for. If they're going to be putting them on the side of a building, or if they're going to be putting them on the back of a bus or something like that, then yeah, of course cropping is going to make that more difficult for them. But in this case, I know my client's going to be using them for their own family memories and also for social media, that sort of thing. So 2048 pixels on the long side is more than enough. And if we turn to this photo here, what I did in the last one was I made it vertical. The same really applies here, because I have these people left and right that are kind of messing up the shot a wee bit. If they're a little bit nearer into the action, then by all means I would keep them in the shot. But in this case, they're out. And we're just going to bring these guys in, because that's just a great shot of those two guys, isn't it? Don't you reckon? It's just great. Same again here, and you may think I'm crazy delivering more than one version of what are very similar shots, but you know yourself, when you look at a photo of you or other people, you instantly know, even between two different photos, even though there may not be that much difference between them, you know which is better for you, or the one you like better. And so that's what I'm doing in this case as well. Oh, I forgot to set my timer, so I don't know how long the camera's recording for. Of course, I've only got 29.59 on the Canon EOS R for recording. Okay. Here we go. No, that's a good shot. Thanks, lads, for firstly propping up in front of the camera and smiling. It's very warm again, but we do have some white in the image. We select the eyedropper and that corrects the white balance. Perfect. It's actually not perfect because there's too much haze in this photo for my liking. And you may see things differently yourself. You may think what I'm doing to process my raw files is nowhere near what you'd do for yours, and that's cool. That's fine. However you like it, that's fine. That's fine. It's totally fine. This one here is really annoying because we have that light in the background, but it's a good shot of these two guys. So if we can just try and remove that light somehow, we'll just see what we can do here. And yeah, I'm really not liking this. I'm not liking this. And look, if you don't like it, the thing is, don't deliver it. It might be the only shot you have of that particular situation, but you don't have to deliver it. Get rid of it, you know. And just take my own advice. Sorry, fellas. Okay. Definitely want to get the ladies sign out of this photo. Move it over. I want to straighten up the left-hand side. On to the next one. One of the greatest, almost fulfilling moments when you are doing raw processing or editing the photos is when you don't really have to do any edits at all. It just makes things just so much more easy to deal with. So much more easy to deal with. And because of the type of job this is, we're really focused on just pumping through. We want to get the photos out. The other thing I do is with these jobs, I deliver them the photos the very next day, because the thing is, if you take any longer than that, your photos become sort of second fiddle to cell phone shots and up on social media. Everyone's already seen all those photos, and if you're going to deliver your photos a week or 2 weeks later, then by then they've gone stale. Everybody's seen everything. They've moved on. You know, life's so quick. People move on so quickly now that we've got to get these out. We've got to get our photos out quickly so people can see your shots, you know, right off the bat. Here we go. And yeah, I am a little bit annoyed because all my shots are too warm, but at the end of the day, sometimes a nice warm shot, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. According to me. I mean, you don't have to listen to anything. Not one single thing I say or do in this video or any video you see do you have to do as well. This is just to like pull back the curtain and show you what I do. And like I've already said in this video, I'm no expert, I'm learning. And even by showing you this video, you may be able to tell me some things that I need to do better. Or where you think I'm really letting myself down, or where you think I could more simply do it better. And at the same time, you might pick up some things that I'm doing in this that you could do yourself. So we both win. There's no need for us to lose. There's no need for you to rag on me and tell me I'm doing a rubbish job. And there's no need for me to tell you that you're doing a rubbish job. I don't know if you're doing a rubbish job or not. But we all just do the job we're doing. We've got to do it. And that's exactly the kind of approach I'm taking here. I've got to get this job done so I can move on to the next job. I want to deliver quality as best I can, because if I deliver quality in this job here, then it's going to really open up the opportunities for me to get another job. If I deliver a whole series of really rubbish photos, then that's it. I won't hear from these people or any of their friends again, because they just won't be interested in using me. But the bottom line is that with this particular group of friends, they know my photography now and they know my photos. And because, like I said in the video about the Cull, if you do one job for someone, say a 21st, which are really cool jobs, by the way, you think about it. If you're shooting weddings, there's so much pressure on you to get amazing photos. People are looking for those amazing winners, the once-in-a-lifetime photos, and you have to hit all the moments. Like, you can't cut the wedding cake a second time. You know, you can't stop the ceremony and get them to do the first kiss again. Or if you miss the ring shot, then that's it. You may as well pack up your gear and go home. But with a 21st party, everybody's just having fun. They're drinking, they're eating, they're socializing, they're dancing, they're interacting, conversing, all of those things. But the pressure's right off. You don't have the ring shot, you don't have the kiss shot, you don't have the cake shot in most cases. I mean, a lot of times there are cakes in 21st, I should say, but the pressure is off. The pressure is a lot less. Not only that, the work is a lot shorter. Shooting weddings is really, really hard work, and it's very taxing. It takes a lot of effort. Whereas these 21st, I'm in for 2 hours, gone. And even 2 hours is quite a long time to be on your feet, walking around, trying to find photos. So that is certainly something worth thinking about. Okay, so we're moving on. You know, I like linear photos. I like the lines to all be where the lines should be, upright, vertical, horizontal. I don't like these Dutch angles with weird lines. You know, if we look at this shot here with the ceiling tight linings, that's not too bad, but instantly I look at that and think, right, I just need to straighten it up to here. And it makes it a much better shot. And I don't even know what this shot is of, by the way. It's of a beer. It's of a beer. Of a hazy. It's of a hazy. And once again, it's really, really warm. I really let myself down. And not only that, I've pulled back the curtain and showed you the most basic mistakes that you can make. Not setting the white balance correctly before the job is a killer, because now I have to edit it in almost every single shot. And again, that is exactly another reason why you must shoot in RAW. We've got to shoot in RAW so we do have the ability to adjust the white balance afterwards. The problem with adjusting the white balance afterwards is that if you are in places where there's artificial lighting, you also have light being cast or color cast onto your subjects, and it is tricky to adjust the white balance of color cast, which is on skin and that sort of thing. So it's really important to get the white balance sorted at the start. But of course, it's easy for me to say that now after just saying to you that I didn't do it. Well, at least I didn't do it properly. Okay, so these shoot-through shots, the thing that annoys me about this shot is the television up in the top right-hand corner. I mean, sports bars. But if I bring this right back down to here, right, I can cut that TV out. I would like to have a little bit more headroom on this dude, but it's not going to happen because I want to get that TV out. That TV has got to go. Now, of course, you should compose properly in camera to make sure that you get the shot at the right composition. But oftentimes, a lot of the stuff is snap shooting. Even as a photographer, you don't have the time or the luxury to be able to compose every shot perfectly because things are moving so quickly. You just don't have the luxury. So oftentimes you are snap shooting, knowing that you are going to be adjusting after the shot. So we'll just work with this. Okay. One thing I am quite pleased about from the shoot last night is that a lot of these photos are already in a pretty good situation. I'm happy with the colors. I'm happy with a lot of the exposures. I think I got that pretty good. If you did watch the Cull video, you would have seen there were series where it was overexposed and underexposed, but certainly not to the extent that I've encountered in the past. And that just goes back to what I was saying about the experience. Learning with experience what needs to be improved, what you need to do differently the next time. This one here, I've got a bit of a glass over to the side, which I'm not too fussed about, but it is out of focus a wee. But if I just get rid of the straw, it actually makes it a little bit less obtuse in the photo. And this photo is all about those wings. Oh man, would just be loving to get my hands on these wings. I tell you what, I'll let you know I ate 0 wings. 0 wings. Okay, oh, that's a cool shot. Anytime you got laughter or things, these are the shots, they're good. If you're editing photos or processing photos and a smile comes across your face when you see one, you know that that photo's a good one, right? And sometimes I even am processing photos and like a tear will like form in my eye because of such an emotional moment or something like that, or such a compelling moment. This one here, I'm just going to reduce the saturation a wee bit because it did seem very dense on those people. So there we go. That's a cute photo. This is a nice photo, isn't it? Just want to get rid of that glass there. Maybe just center that a wee bit better. Okay, this photo is less about editing and more about cropping. I should just call it the crop, not the edit. But we are doing some wee bits of adjustments here. I do want to bring in, there we go. I've already done all the lens corrections on these. So chromatic aberration and lens distortion, the lens profiles, I've already done that prior to starting this video. But one thing that you will notice that I'm not doing is noise reduction. And I always use noise reduction pretty frequently or quite often for processing photos. But nowadays, you know what? I don't use it at all. I don't use it at all because photos have grain, photos have noise. It's just a natural part of photography. In the film photography days, noise reduction wasn't a thing. There was noise, there was grain in photos, and I think it adds a bit of character to the photo as well. And one thing I did start to find in using noise reduction is it's really easy to become quite heavy-handed with it, and you can actually degrade your photos quite badly in terms of making them quite mushy or blocky, and I'm just not keen. I'd rather have grain than mushy or blocky photos, absolutely. And we are doing very quick edits, as I mentioned. We've got the birthday boy there with a wing chunked in his mouth. Perfect. Look at that. Wings in focus. And now that I've zoomed in here, you can see there's a bit of grain. There's a bit of noise because we're shooting at ISO 1600. Okay, ISO 1600. But I don't mind the grain. It's fine. Photos have grain. There's no need to mush up your photos using noise reduction. And people are going to slap me across the face for even saying something like that. But that's fine. If you want to slap me across the face because I don't use noise reduction, then by all means go for it. And if you want to use noise reduction even harder out, go for it even more. It does not bother me. It does not bother you what I choose to do and what you choose to do. We are different. We process things differently. We like different things. A lot of the photos that I chose in the Cull, you probably wouldn't have chosen at all. And conversely, a lot of the photos that I left out of the Cull, you may well have chosen. But the thing is that I was the one doing the job. And when it's your turn to do the job, you're the one doing the job. Rely on your comprehension, rely on your interpretation of the photos you take. And you have to like the photo first before the client's going to like the photo. So really, if it feels right to you and if it looks right to you, then that's the way you should do it. Take it from me. Well, I just said you don't have to do anything I say, but now I'm saying take it from me. I don't know. I guess I'm just riffing at this point. Okay, here we go. That guy there looks a little bit out of focus. You can see, and we've got some incredible green eye stuff going on there. I wonder if the red eye tool gets rid of green eye. Let's have a look. Be sure to use an area that includes the entire eye. Okay, let's go for here. We've got the entire eye. It does not reduce green eye. And what on earth would cause green eye? Have you got any ideas about that? It's not really something I've noticed before. Maybe there was some sort of reflection or something at the venue. The other thing is that people believe, well, you can get into this train of thought that editing has to be complicated. It doesn't. It doesn't have to be complicated. Cameras these days are incredible. You know, the camera has got all of the technology in it to get you a great photo right off the bat. In reality, there's no need to do any edits at all. Your photos can be absolutely perfect straight out of camera. This one here, by example, I'm going to give it a quick crop, and that's it. I'm going to move on. There's a bit of magenta tone in it, but it's nice because the venue was warm, the venue was rich, and I want to convey that in the photos as well. Now this one here, the girl with the eyes closed in the background here, we're not doing her any favors by including this photo by including her in this photo. So we'll remove her. I want to make sure I get that elbow up there. Okay, and then we're done for that one. And this is really great. I am stoked about this because a lot of these are not requiring significant edits. We're just doing raw processing. Crop and color, and let's do it. Making sure the exposures are okay, making sure things are in focus, adding a little bit here and there, just tweaks, you know. And that is a nice, rich, bold, colorful photo. You know, and that's all we did. And this is actually the last one that I did select to edit during this particular video. And so we'll just see how we go here. I am going to jump ahead and just see if there are any other sort of winners in here that we can deal with. Let's have a look at this one here. Very fond of this one. I really like this shot here. And I like the way the sort of curve of the sun works with the curve of the mother. And we're going to, no, I like the 2x3 better for this one. And that's, you know, that's it. We got the shot. We got the shot right there. Done. Actually, I want to bring her ring back into the photo. We want to cut that out. And that brings in this gentleman's nose over here. So what we're going to do is go to 3x4, 4x3, and then we can keep the ring in, and we can also get rid of that gentleman's chin. Okay, anything else in here? Okay, we'll do this one. We'll have a look at this one here. Okay, that is a lovely shot of the birthday boy and his girlfriend. Right after the speeches, I said, oi, you and you right here, right now. We're getting a photo with the people in the background. As soon as the speeches are finished, everyone starts wandering off. And I really wanted to try and get a photo of them with the people still in the background. It's a little bit green tint, so we magenta that up a wee bit, add a bit of contrast, drop the highlights, a little bit off on the shadows, a little bit of that, bit of colour in it, and we're done. Okay guys, well that was basically just a quick video. Well, when I say a quick video, it's probably been going on for ages and ages, but it's just to show you how quick it can be and how efficient you can be in editing your photos, or what more accurately would be referred to as raw processing. These photos here, I'm going to raw process them all. There's about 350 of them. I'm going to do them the exact same way, export them as JPEGs alongside 2048 pixels. Now you can deliver the full files, of course, but in this case I know my client, these photos are destined for family memories and also for social media, so I'm just going to deliver them what they need, because otherwise the files will be really, really large and also take a long time to load up. Say if they were to put them in an online gallery or something like that, I want to deliver them the photos that they need to be able to use for their purposes, and that is basically it. Thank you very much for watching. I know there was nothing a whole lot technical in this particular video, but it just goes to show how simple and streamlined the process can be if this is the sort of way you're doing it in for this particular type of job. In the future, if I do wedding photography or a portrait session where I do more retouching, and particularly in Photoshop, then I'll film another one of these videos and show you what happens in those cases too, because I got a little bit of knowledge about that sort of stuff. But like I have said right the way through this video, I'm still learning. I'm just here to help you learn as well. I hope it was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and we're going to catch you next time. Bye!